Right, Hayley, out you come, please. Come on, Claire. We've finished the montage. Hooray! Good evening.
Good evening. Is this working?
Yes.
Yes.
How are you?
Yes, I'm very well. I'm sorry I didn't see that.
Oh, you'll see it, don't worry.
Yeah, it
I'll show
sounded
you
as if it
another
was.
time.
It sounded as if it was all whistled out the wind.
No, that's just the music track.
Oh, I see. Oh, that was clever.
Written by Sir Malcolm Arnold.
That's right. Yes,
Wonderful.
because you probably do know that George is an editor. He's a film editor. So that's all his own work. Should we give him a round of applause?
No. Now, we're going to start at the beginning, are we? You were born in 19...
Yes.
And I think I've got a photo of you here. So just to make sure we get the promotions all done. Yes, very good book, ladies and gentlemen. Available for sale at this table afterwards. Signed copies. Buy it, I've read it, I've got the paperback and the hardback. So you have all your memories brought back to the forefront by writing this book.
Indeed, yes, I did.
Were you pleased with all the memories?
Yes.
That's good. That's good.
Yes, I really enjoyed the process, actually. And I was very lucky because I'd written a synopsis, and with my son, Crispian, who is a musician and a writer, a very good writer, and I'd come back from Hollywood, or Horrorwood, as my mother called it, and I'd been to Disney Studios, and I'd been to the office, Disney's office, which they put together again. It was really amazing, and I came back and I told Chris all about it, and he said, you've got to write your story.
You went through the research archive, didn't you?
Yeah, I'm into the archives and everything, and I found things in the archives that I didn't even know existed, and letters between Walt Disney and my parents, and especially my mum, and contracts and deals and things I didn't know anything about. And I wanted to write for a long time, and I love the process. I love writing. I don't say I'm particularly good, but I really enjoy it. And my mum was a very good writer.
For sure.
And I was always inspired by her. And he said, you've got to do it, Mum. And I said, oh, I would, I can't. I want to, but I can't. I just don't think that I would be able to finish it. And Crispian said, I'll help you. And that suddenly changed.
It's very well written.
Everything.
It's extremely easy to read. And a lot of autobiographies are not, but it's very well written. It's amusing, it's charming, there's a kindness in it. And I think you hold your parents with respect, but you do prove that they weren't flawless. They had the mistakes like all of us, but it's a good book, very good book.
Thank you very much. Well, Crispian was very helpful, and what I started by saying he was very lucky, and I was very lucky because as I got the synopsis, and I had actually managed to get an agent, because I'm with an agency called Curtis Brown, which started as a literary agency.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to my theatrical agent about needing a literary agent, and she said, oh, come with me. And we literally got up, walked across the office to the other side of the building, and she introduced me to a marvellous man called Gordon Wise, who took me on as my literary agent.
So it was meant to be?
It was meant to be, and then there was a wonderful day when I rushed around London with Gordon and went to lots of different publishing houses and found a publisher, a wonderful man called oh my God, his name's just gone, Alan Sampson, at Ridenfeld and Nicholson. So, and I was all set to go, and then COVID lockdown.
Oh, bloody COVID.
Bloody COVID. But you know, what was bloody COVID for a lot of people was actually a godsend for me, because I had nothing to do but write. And I got up every morning, and I went downstairs where we had an empty flat, and wrote, and I absolutely adored it. But you know, it was really easy for me because I had Crispian to talk to on the phone, and he's a very good writer, and he taught me all about everything has to have a beginning, a middle, and end. Well, not everything, but I mean every chapter has to have a beginning, a middle, and end, and that was really, really helpful. And then, I don't know, I mean, when I say it was easy, it's because it looks like I've got an amazing memory, and I really haven't. But I did keep journals. I had journals that I started when I was 12. And I didn't do it every day, but so they were tremendous.
Something I wish I had done.
Yeah.
Very
we all
much as a
should do it.
blueprint. So can we start at the beginning of the movies?
Okay.
Tiger Bay?
Yes.
Now, I know the story of how you got the part,
Yes.
because the director, J. Lee Thompson, had directed your dad in Ice Cold and Alex. And he then proposed this other part to your father in Tiger Bay, but they then come round for lunch. The director met, tap.
Oh, okay. You were doing so well, Jim. Yes, I think I was 12, and J. Lee Thompson came to lunch to talk to my dad about, he wanted him to be in a movie that he was setting up called Tiger Bay, and he wanted him to play the detective inspector, and briefly, and I'm not good at telling the story of stories, but briefly it's about a Polish sailor who comes back from his ship to Cardiff to look for his lady friend, and finds that she's taken up with somebody else. They have a violent row, and he ends up shooting her. He didn't mean to. It was an awful crime of passion. And this whole thing is observed by a child, originally a boy, who happened to live in the same flats, and sees the whole thing through the letterbox. And then it's the story when he takes the child, you know, they go off into the hills, he hides. So
Don't
it's
give
all
the whole
about this
film
boy
away. They can buy it, they can download it.
Yeah,
Pay
yeah,
for a download.
I
So-
told you I'm awful at telling stories. But anyway, so he's telling my father about this story, and Dad says, "Oh, this is really good. It's very good. I'm very interested in it." And he's got this great German film star called Horst Buchholz. And he was his first English speaking. I can't see anybody.
You can put the lights up a wee bit, Carol. Could you put the audience lights up just a wee bit? This is a bit
black
darkness,
hole.
yes.
Not
Is
too
there any
much,
way you
because I
can
know
do
that
that?
makes you uncomfortable.
That's it.
Oh
that's
no, not
better.
on me.
No, on the audience,
Not me,
not on us.
that way.
Not on us. Not on us.
Anyway, so
J. Lee Thompson was
J. Lee
so
Thompson.
impressed by Hayley, they turned the male part of the child into a female part.
oh, but you've jumped, George.
Have I?
Yeah.
What bit did I miss?
Well, because my dad said, "Well, this is great. I love this. Can you turn this light down a tiny bit?"
Very bright. Yes, it's a sauna.
Oh, that's better.
That's better.
Thank you. And my father said, "Well, it's great. I love the story." But obviously, everything hangs on the child.
Yeah.
If you've got to have a good child, otherwise the whole thing just goes to pieces. And he said, yes, I agree. And my father said, "Well, have you found them?" He said, and Lee said, "Well, yes, I think I have found them." And my dad said, "Well, that's wonderful. Well, yeah, who is it? Where is it? And where are they?" And Lee said, "Over there." And he pointed at me. And I was there with some friends by this awful homemade pool we'd made the year before, doing television commercials, because it was a very, very long time ago, before any of you were born. And and television was a new
You
thing.
haven't seen the audience.
It was a new thing. And we had, you know, commercials for the first time. It was you know, palm olive and Murray mints and
Person.
all those things, you know. And I was doing them and showing off. And Lee thought, well, she could do it. But I was the, you know.
And you were
I
a
was
tomboy. You were a tomboy.
I was a tomboy.
So that worked for this.
Yes.
Let's have a look at Tiger Bay.
Oh, okay.
These are the eyes of a child that is different. Hayley Mills.
Put him up! Don't move. I've got you covered. He's loaded.
What did you see? You tell me what you saw.
Here is a child with great talent. A talent inherited from a famous actor, her father, John Mills. John Mills as the police superintendent who cannot break a strange bond of friendship.
I didn't. I've never seen it.
Get out of here.
I didn't.
And Tiger Bay was very successful. It was a successful movie.
Yeah, yeah.
When was the last time you saw it?
About 2 minutes ago.
That was the trailer.
Yeah, no, and my dad was so lovely, lovely. How lucky to, you know, my first movie, to be with my father, who was such a very, very, very
Lovely
good
actor.
actor. There's no question. I mean, people used to say to me, oh, what's it like acting with your dad? Isn't it a bit weird? No, because it wasn't my dad, it was the man.
character.
It was, yes, absolutely. Yeah.
And you got something. You got an award for that film.
I did.
You did?
I did.
You all know, so we won't tell you. We'll keep it a secret. What did you get?
Well, it's not the one you're thinking of.
You got the BAFTA.
Oh, I got that one.
You
yes.
got the BAFTA.
Yes, I
I
did.
haven't. Has anybody here got a BAFTA? So I think it was quite a good thing to get.
Yeah,
For the
yes,
newest,
it was.
newest promising, the most promising newcomer.
Arrivaler, yes.
Yeah, lovely. Which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
it's a lovely thing.
And I also got the Berlin Silver Bear,
Oh, that's
which I was thrilled with because it actually was a little bear.
yeah, wonderful.
And I did enjoy that, yeah. Yeah.
Now, on the back of the success of Tiger Bay, Walt Disney came along, and you went to the. Here we are. Here's a character. You went along. I'm just trying to lead this because I know what the clips are. And I haven't told Hayley what clips we're showing, because it's always better if it's a shot. Sorry, if it's spontaneous. But you went to meet Walt Disney in the Dorchester, in some very posh suite.
Yes, yes, absolutely. It was the Harlequin Suite in the Dorchester, and I went with my mum and my dad and my brother and a small white Pekingese puppy called Suki. And Suki had left white hair all over us. And she'd been given to us by Vivian Lee, and the dog had been given to her by her then estranged husband, Laurence Olivier. And she didn't want to keep it because she just got this beautiful new apartment in Belgrave Square, and with these lime green carpets, and Suki peed all over the lime green. She said, I can't bear it. So she gave the puppy to us because our carpets were not new and certainly not like so we had this lovely, and that was my mum's idea, and it was a genius idea actually to bring the dog, because we, you know, there we were outside the door of the Harlequin Suite, waiting, and there was a little picture about a harlequin actually on the door, dancing harlequin in red and white stripes. And it seemed really appropriate, even at that age. I remember thinking, this is Walt Disney lives here, and this is not on his door. And then the door opened, and there was this extraordinary moment when nobody spoke. My parents, my brother, me, Walt, we just stared at each other. I couldn't believe it, that Walt Disney was actually a real person. And the only noise was the sound of Suki, being a Pekingese, they find it hard to breathe through those noses. So he took us in, and we spent the whole time playing with Suki on the carpet. It wasn't an interview as such, because the dog really distracted, you know. And
But it was the icebreaker. The dog was the
total,
icebreaker.
yeah, it was very clever of her.
Anyway, all this ended up because David Swift was involved and so on, but too much detail. You need to read the book, buy the book, it's all in there. But you ended up being offered a contract by Disney,
Yes,
which your parents didn't agree to originally, because your mum didn't really want to become a babysitter.
that's right.
Is that right?
Yeah. Because she realised that the films would be made in America,
Yeah.
and she and my dad just joined at the hip. They just didn't want to be where the other one wasn't, and wherever he went, wherever he was working, wherever he was filming, she went too. And suddenly, you know, one of their offspring is doing it, and she realised she's, you know, going to have to be with her, and that was really very, very difficult. And initially, it was a long contract, you know.
7-year contract, one
Yes.
film a year, and they
Yeah.
turned it down.
They did,
Then they
yeah.
came back with conditions that made it impossible to turn down.
Yes.
So because you were able to work elsewhere, so you could have made a movie
Yes.
in Britain,
Yes.
and that was not such a horror story to your mum and dad.
Not quite so much, no. But, you know, I mean, it was extraordinary to be offered a contract at such an early stage in my life and so-called career. I'd only done one movie, and that was Tiger Bay.
And this was at the end of the contract system. You know, by 1960, people were not taking on actors and actresses in long contracts. They were taking them on for 1 or 2 films at a time, because the golden age had disappeared really with TV in the late 50s.
Yes,
So it was quite unique that you were offered this,
it was, yeah, I didn't.
and good money.
Yes, well, pretty damn good money. But the contract was very sensible as far as Disney was concerned, is that there was a clause that I could not renegotiate. So whatever happened to the films, you know, and whatever happened to me and, you know, my career, I couldn't renegotiate for more money. But it went up just every year. It went up, you know, by the same amount every year.
You had escalators.
It was an escalator. Is that
Yeah, that's what they're called.
yeah, and so yeah.
So will we look at Pollyanna?
Yeah,
We'll look at a little bit
okay.
of Pollyanna.
I've been trying to get you baptized for the past 3 years.
Now, Carell, can I just say there's a bit of stuttering going on the screen that isn't going on in my computer. Is there anything we can do about that or not? Probably not, right. Okay, well, we just have to live with it. Now, Pollyanna was a big film. It had a big budget, and you were playing opposite some serious actors.
Oh yes.
Carol Malden,
Yes.
Agnes Moorehead,
Right.
3 years before she made Bewitched,
Right.
and Jane Wyman, who'd won the Oscar for Johnny Belinda,
Right.
Nancy Olsen, who's still with us
Yes.
from Sunset Boulevard,
93,
93, 94.
94.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I met her a couple of years ago.
And I'm trying to think who, Donald Crisp.
Yes.
What was Donald Crisp? Now, Donald Crisp is the father in How Green Was My Valley with Maureen O'Hara and Walter Pidgeon. He was from Glasgow, an old Scottish actor who's in tons of old movies. What was he like? Can you remember?
Oh, absolutely. Wonderful. Just warm and lovely, and Adolphe Morgiou,
Adolphe
saying,
Morgiou, yes.
you know, who was very sort of soigné and debonair.
Never knew.
You know, but people tend to be nice to children on the set. So they were all wonderful with me, and Jane Wyman was lovely. I was a bit in awe, I have to say, of Jane Wyman. She was very beautiful, and she was playing Aunt Polly, you know, and Aunt Polly was quite an impressive person,
Yeah.
but she was just sweet and lovely, and no, I mean, wonderful actors to work
But
with
you
for a
swam,
child.
you didn't sink.
Yeah, that's the thing, you know. Walt Disney, he cast films brilliantly, but also, you know, to surround this child with wonderful actors like that, and the script, of course, was wonderful, written by David Swift, who was the director. You know, it
Hold on,
lifted
please.
the whole film up.
It's a good film. It is a good film. Oh, slightly overlong, but I'm an editor.
Right.
So all editors say that. And compared to modern films, not overlong, modern films are now about 3.5 hours. And you think everything doesn't need to be an epic. But Pollyanna established you as a star in America. And it's interesting to me that an English girl got the part of the most American girl.
Yes, I know. Wrapped up in the American flag, singing America the Beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. It is extraordinary.
And you got something special for that film. Up Come Still. Now there's a story about this, isn't there?
There is. It's awfully long.
Right, do you want me to tell it quickly? Do you want to do the shortened version?
I'll do the short version. I was given a miniature Oscar for Pollyanna, and I didn't go and pick it up because I was at school. And it was stolen. It was stolen when we were living in Sussex, on a farm in Sussex, and the thief actually burglarized the house for 3 weekends running, and then he called the house when we were all there, and he said, my mum picked up the phone, and he said, oh, I've just, I think I've got some things that belong to you. Do you want me to pop around? And my mum said, oh, what have you got? And he said, well, I've got a Rolex, and I've got some canvas, and I've got an Oscar. My word! And how do you know, she said, got a bit pompous, and how do you know, you know, where they came from? And he said, well, it was all wrapped up in a bit of newspaper, a bit of notepaper, got your address on it, see? Oh, she said, how very clever of you. Won't you bring it round? I'd be so grateful. Thank you. Put the phone down, picked up, hello, is that the police? So when the chap came whistling up the drive, they jumped on him, and so we got it back that time, but then it went missing again in 1985.
How careless to lose one's Oscar.
I know. I came back from working in America, and it was nowhere to be found.
So
Absolutely.
many years later,
Many years later, I got a call from the Academy. Would I please go to the office? The president of the Academy wants to see me, and I felt like a child being taken round to the headmaster's room. And he stepped forward, he made the most lovely speech, and he whipped off a black cloth, and underneath it was this full-size Oscar, which is very beautiful, and I have to say my pride and joy, and I think it's my pride and joy more because I didn't get it at the time, and I lost it, and I did actually call the Academy after I lost it finally, and I realised it wasn't going to come back, and I said, I'm terribly sorry, it's awful, I feel so ghastly about it. Can I have another one? No, they broke the mold when they did those little ones. Oh dear, I said, well, can I have a big one then? And they said, no, I'm afraid it doesn't work like that, goodbye. And then many years later,
they were nice to you.
they were nice to me.
Now, the great success of Pollyanna took you on to this film, which came from a German novel, and this was another David Swift script.
Yes.
And I think this is the film that set you into the hearts of teenagers, because you play two parts, they're different. Split screen, of course, in those days. No CGI.
No.
So they must have paid you twice because you were playing two
Oh,
parts.
that, I never thought of that. No, absolutely.
Shall we watch a bit of The Parent Trap?
Who's she? I never saw her before in my life. The nerve of her coming here with your face. What are you gonna do about it?
What a time for you to show up, just when I'm gonna get married.
Daddy, please don't marry that woman.
I'm going to marry your father, so you get used to the idea.
You want a bet?
Off with the old and on with the new, eh?
You ever get that funny feeling like something's gonna happen? Storm brewing.
Wonderful girls.
And that, of course, was a gold mine to Walt Disney, as you probably know. That made a great deal of money, The Parent Trap. That was in the top 5 money-making films of its year. Oh yes, hugely successful. I always look up how much films took and how much they cost to make. Oh, it's interesting. It's interesting. Aren't we all interested in that?
Do you know, can you remember what the budget was?
The budget for that would have been about $2 to $3 million.
Right,
And it would have taken about 5 times that. So that's a lot of money.
right.
Then, it seems small fry today, but it's not small fry. Disney was a very efficient organisation.
Yes,
There wasn't a lot of waste. MGM was a very wasteful organisation. Warner's were very frugal. Fox were very efficient. You know, certain studios were set up in a very good way, and Disney had a hand in everything, as you know.
yes, yes.
So
And of course his brother Roy was
Yes, Roy
the
Disney.
financial one.
Yes, yes.
And he was very clever.
So what
Very
did you
good.
think, Maureen O'Hara? Maureen O'Hara, what was she like?
Oh, just like that. Just the most gorgeous person I think I've ever clapped eyes on. And very Irish, very warm, very funny, very, very, very talkative. And, you know, just a wonderful, wonderful energy. She was real. She was a real, lovely, warm woman. And once she had her hair and makeup done, sitting there in front of the mirror, and she got it right, and she never really thought about it after.
No, no.
She was just so natural, and we had good talks, and she wanted to tell me a little bit about Hollywood and life in Hollywood and her life. You know, she came over I think she was 17 or 18 when she came over with her mum, having done, well, she was discovered actually
By Charles Lawton
by Charles Lawton.
at the Gate
Exactly.
Theatre in Dublin,
Yeah.
and he took her under his wing
Exactly.
and got her the lead in Alfred Hitchcock's last British film before he went to Hollywood, which was Jamaica Inn,
Right.
and she played the female lead. And then he got offered a contract by RKO to play Quasimodo,
Right.
and he said, "Well, I want her to be Esmeralda," and
Right.
he got her contracted to RKO. So he was wonderful to her, wonderful.
Yes. He
And
was.
she's a wonderful Esmeralda, I might add, in his Hunchback of Notre Dame is by far the best version.
Best. Yeah.
They
yeah.
rebuilt the full-size exterior of Notre Dame at
Fantastic.
RKO Studios.
Right.
In the old days, what they did. My
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah. They do it all. They do it all on occasion. I'd be hanging on the real thing. And she came to Hollywood with her mum,
Yeah,
and she lived with her mum until she got married.
Yep.
You know, she wasn't overly impressed with the Hollywood,
no,
the razzmatazz and all that. You know, she was a down-to-earth, gorgeous, wonderful, warm Irish woman. Marvelous. I was so lucky to
To
meet
work with
all
nice
these
people.
amazing people.
yeah,
And Brian Keith,
yes,
you know, who was sweet and funny, and you know, and Joanna Barnes, who played his girlfriend.
and Una Merkel.
And Ulla Merkel, who played the housekeeper.
She had been in The Gold Diggers of 1933, Una Merkel. She is the nun to Susan Hayward in With a Song in My Heart. I mean, she really had a very interesting career.
Yes. And she was funny.
She was funny, yeah, funny lady. So,
What
you're,
an absolute fund of information.
a mind of rubbish, as I say, a mind of absolute rubbish. Now, of course, we're going to get you to a very, very good film, a film which has truly lasted. Now, this is a special film because, of course, your mum wrote it. And I've never read the book. Has anyone here read the book?
Yes.
You have?
I have. Yes, the book is different. It is different. I mean, the basic premise of the story is the same. Children left much, to themselves, growing up on a farm, with just one father, mother's scarpered, we don't know where, and there's a granny and there's the kids run wild, and they're all wonderful eccentrics, really, and they find a man in the barn and they think it's Jesus. That is the basic story. And Dickie Attenborough, Sir Richard Attenborough, read the book. Great friend of my mum and dad. He read the book and he thought it was wonderful. And he went to my dad and he said, I think this should be a movie. I want to make this, I want to produce it and make it a movie. And my mum was thrilled. And they had a very, very clever idea by giving it to two wonderful, clever screenwriters from the north of England.
Yes.
Keith
Waterhouse was one of them.
Keith Waterhouse and Willis Hall.
Yeah.
And what they did is they transferred the children from Sussex, and a somewhat slightly sophisticated life, to in the middle of nowhere in Lancashire, at the foot of the Pendle Hills, where the witches came from. And they were very, very isolated and allowed to get on, with their own lives without much parental supervision. And they find this man, and they think he's Jesus. And by putting it up there in the north of England, I think gave it an extra dimension of truth and reality
and innocence.
Exactly.
Let's look at a bit of Whistle Down the Wind.
Manhunt. To the police, the newspapers, and the world at large, another murderer is on the run. And to the people in the lonely hill farms,
I think it's a cracking film, Whistle Down the Wind. And Alan Bates was a lovely actor.
Oh, wonderful, perfect film. And to play Jesus, he had to be also a man on the run, and a murderer, but also you have to see what they saw in him, and the fact that they believed that he was Jesus.
Where did your mum get the idea for the story?
Do you know? I don't know.
Because it is an amazing story.
It's a very good question. I just don't know. She was a very, very strange person. No. She was very, Celtic and mystical, and she had quite a dark side to her.
And brought up in China.
Yes, she was born in China, stayed there until she was 12, and then had to go to boarding school in England and didn't see her family, for a year and then another year. And she was a mystical character, and she's written other things.
Yes.
That,
And of course, this was Brian Forbes' first directing.
Yes.
And it's beautifully directed, the film. And the three kids, this is Diane Hodge, and this is, I've written it down, Alan Barnes. I mean, what is that wee boy like? And I don't think he acted again, did he?
He did one film called The Longest Day.
Oh, yes.
Opposite was Ephraim Zimbalist
Jr.
Jr.
Yeah.
And he didn't speak, he just had to watch Ephraim Zimbalist Jr. And that was it. And he said, I don't want to do this anymore, I don't like it. And I met him years later, and he was a fitter in a factory. And he was about 6 foot and terribly skinny and looked just the same. And then actually 3 years ago, I was on tour with a play, and I was up north. I was in Salford,
Oh, yeah.
and he came to the show with Diane.
Oh, wonderful.
And he looks exactly the same. It's extraordinary. He's got the same mannerisms. He's got the same, you know. But now he's a great big man. He's filled out a bit and.
Does he still use the same language?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
And you obviously had a birthday while making this film because you're cutting your cake.
I was 16. Yeah.
And I love the music in the film, of course, by Sir Malcolm Arnold.
Malcolm Arnold.
And this is the only, this is a real colour photo of the three of you on. I thought, wow, wouldn't it have looked different in Technicolor?
Yes.
But the black and white suits it.
It does.
The
It
black and
really
white really
does.
suits it, I think.
It's got drama and, you know, mystery, and it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful.
So now we're going to get into this multi-pic picture of Hayley, and we're going to show a poster of what was my favourite Hayley Mills film when I was a wee boy. I've still got a 16mm Technicolor print of it, and it was called In Search of the Castaways.
Oh gosh.
And which is from a novel by Jules Verne.
Yeah.
Disney had a huge hit with 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea in the mid-50s. It was one of the top 5 money-making films of its year, so he knew a good thing. But this was made in Britain. And last week, I was talking to a gentleman last Wednesday night in a bar on the Regent Seven Seas Grandeur going into Miami. Jerry, and he picked up his phone and he showed me this photo. He said, George, have you seen this photo? It's him on the set of In Search of the Castaways with you. This guy.
What was he doing? What?
He had nothing to do
Was
with
he a
it.
grown-up person or a boy?
No, a little boy.
Yes.
And he's bawling his eyes out being dragged onto this film set by his father. He wasn't interested at all. And I looked to put the photo into this, and he transferred it to me, airdropped it to me, and it hasn't worked.
Oh.
I will get it and I'll send you the photo.
Oh. And why was he there? And what was
He and his wife were
dad?
on the cruise.
Right.
And they'd come to my lectures, and then he came to my karaoke night,
Right.
where I was singing The Shadow of Your Smile on the highway, as one does.
Yes.
And they're very nice, him and his wife Suzanne. So we will see them again at some point.
And do you know why he was dragged onto the set?
His father had something to do with the film company, but he didn't know what.
Right, right.
So I think he thought his father supplied props or something like that.
Okay.
But I thought this is,
How
and he
funny.
said to me, well, this was it must have been in Whistle Down the Wind. I said, no. I said, this is Hayley with her pigtails in Search of the Castaways.
Yeah, right. Oh, God.
Will we watch a little bit of In Search of the Castaways? Could you force yourself to watch a bit? Oh, we will. Come on, here we go.
Across the oceans of the world.
But it's not a hoax.
George Sanders.
Yes.
He plays the baddie. What was he like?
Yes, very impressive. Yes, quite alarming, but really lovely.
I mean, anyone who'd been married to 2 Gabor sisters, never mind one, had to have lived a life.
Yes.
But and also, of course, you sang in this film.
Not very well.
Yes, we're going to see that in a minute. Let people judge for themselves. Don't put yourself down. But the song was written by the Sherman Brothers.
Yes, it
And
was.
of course, the Sherman Brothers, at some point down the road, I'm going to do a talk on the Sherman Brothers, because they were geniuses, and they wrote Mary Poppins, and that was their big kick.
And you know, oh my God, Jungle Book. You go
The
on.
Jungle Book, yes, but they didn't write Bare Necessities, funnily enough, but they wrote I'm a King of the Swingers, because I've been
Right.
doing my research for it.
All
But
right.
I think we should see a bit of Hayley singing with Maurice Chevalier, don't you? Yes.
Oh,
There's a complication and joy. You've got imagination. Employed. This tree is a cornucopia. Why, it could be.
Utopia.
Voila! That's right. Enjoy it.
Why cry about bad weather? Enjoy it.
No, enjoy.
Oh, each moment is a treasure. Enjoy.
That's better. Enjoy.
We're travelers on life's highway. Enjoy the trip.
enjoy it. Enjoy it. You can't imagine.
Well done.
And Chevalier, of course, I mean, sort of forgotten today in many ways, but a huge, huge star.
Yeah, he was, you know, a glamorous, romantic, Parisian singer, very glamorous. He had relationships with all the most beautiful women of his day. Like
He was
Miss
missing.
Danguette.
He was her lover. Yeah.
Was her lover.
She was many years older than him, but he got on. Clark Gable did the same thing, remember?
Yeah, right.
First two marriages, marry much older women.
Yes, yeah, that's right. No, he was just naturally wonderful, charming and sweet, and his English was good, you know, but he had a slight Liverpudlian accent. And he explained to me the reason for this was during the war, he'd been a prisoner of war for a while with a lot of British soldiers from Liverpool. And they taught him how to speak English. So that's why it sounds like the Beatles. Not quite, but
And that film was directed by a man called Robert Stevenson.
yes.
Now, what can you tell me about him?
I bet you can tell me
No,
some
no, no,
interesting
no.
things. Go on, George.
Well, he was married to a very well-known English actress who was also in How Green Was My Valley with Maureen, called Anna Lee.
Anna Lee.
And
That's
he
right.
was a British director who
Yes.
went to Hollywood and he became the Disney director. He directed Mary Poppins, and they say, whether it's accurate or not, his films put together probably were the biggest box office of any director. Now, I don't know whether it's true, since Steven Spielberg's certainly been a huge success.
Mm.
But what was he like as a man? Can you remember him?
I do remember he was very very unassuming,
Right.
very quiet, small in stature, quite nervous.
I'm
Nothing wrong
small
with
in
that.
stature, there's nothing wrong with that.
And quietly spoken. I mean, he didn't have the personality that sort of like stood out in a room.
No.
Quite the opposite. But quiet and thinking, and always thinking, always working. Yeah, he wasn't a
wasn't
kind of
off his
hail
pitch.
fellow well met, kind
No.
of slap you on the back kind of man. He got on with the job.
What was Walt like?
Walt was really very warm and very real, and he had a very, very good sense of humour. He loved the business so much, and never lost his initial, quite, I think, childlike enthusiasm
Which is marvellous.
for films, and of course for you know, Disneyland, for the park. That was his kind of like child. There was an enormous map of the park in his office, and he would sit and look at it for, you know, hours. Yeah, I see. Right. Well, when they get off the Mayflower, and then they got quite a long walk before they can actually sit down in the shade. You need a bench, and we haven't got enough toilets. You've got to have a toilet. And I thought, this is extraordinary. Walt Disney's thinking about people's toilets. But he was
Very practical.
He was, and he had this wonderful, wonderful imagination, and he got on. He loved my mum and dad, which was so lucky for me because they were invited to dinner at his house, and of course I went too, and they had a great time, and they had a lot to talk about, and he showed films in his movie theatre, and I'd never seen a private movie theatre before. It was very glamorous. And in the movie theatre, or at the back, he had a soda fountain, and he used to make ice cream sodas and things all the way through the film. You know, and it'd be Walt coming up with yet another wonderful concoction with cream and things sticking in umbrellas and cherries. No, he had an enormous model train in his garden.
As one does.
As one does, it went all over the place, and he was the only one who was allowed to drive it. We weren't allowed to drive it.
What I heard I like about Walt Disney is that he was very good at giving actors who, what shall we say, were down in the uppers, and he'd known them in the 30s or the 40s, and he'd give them bits. So when you watch Mary Poppins, the lady who feeds the birds is an actress called Jane Darwell, who was actually in the Actors' Home by then. She had played Ma Jode in The Grapes of Wrath with Henry Fonda. And also in Mary Poppins, the captain who lets the gun off at midday off his roof. He played Garbo's brother in Anna Karenina, Reginald Owen. And he was seemingly very good at saying, "Oh, give them a few days' work." You know, so he did that with lots of people. Hence, a lot of the characters, Adolphe Monjou and Una Merkel and so on, they were long past their sell-by date, really.
Yes.
But no, he would use them in bit parts, and I think he was good in that respect.
Yes, he absolutely was. And in this film, well, in one film, I had the thrill of working with Elsa Lanchester,
Yes, we're
who was
coming
in
to
The
that.
Bride of Frankenstein, which I watched every night for weeks when I first went to Hollywood on the Late Show.
Charles Laughton's wife,
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
a lavender marriage, probably.
Really?
Yes, oh yes. So, and could you just mention one thing there, where you're talking about Disney. Your dad, of course, was in a great Disney film, Swiss Family Robinson.
Right.
And you went out to the location of that
I did. That was Tobago in the West Indies, yes.
in the days when it was gorgeous.
Oh, it was gorgeous. Isn't it gorgeous now?
I think there's probably 500 to tell now.
Oh dear. Well, when the film was out there were two hotels. No, sorry, I lie, three. The Blue Haven, the Bacalet, and then there was Arnos Vale, the other end of the island. It's a tiny island, 27 miles long as the crow flies. Really a desert, I mean a tropical, beautiful tropical island. And he took all those animals out there. He actually built a real tree house in a banyan tree.
Wow.
Built the whole thing with the different levels and the waterworks going up, and it was the most wonderful thing you'd ever seen. And then transported it, not the real tree, the tree house to Disneyland, and it's now you can go
Yeah, I've been in it. Yeah.
up the whole thing as it was.
Would you like some summer magic?
What I want?
Would you like some summer magic?
Yes, all right.
Boy,
It's Hayley Mills, a veteran in the romantic world of her 16th summer.
How do you feel sitting there looking back at that now?
Well, I haven't seen that one for years. Years and years and years.
And it'll be years and years before you see it again.
Yes. Yeah, it is odd. It's like, oh gosh, wish I was still. And then, no, I don't really think, wish I was still young. It was torture, actually, being young, which is a...
Dorothy McGuire, nice to
Yes.
work with.
Yes, she was lovely. I knew her quite well, actually, because she was in Swiss Family Robinson.
Of course, she played the
So
mum
we
in it,
were all
that's
together
right.
on,
Yeah.
on the island of Tobago. And, you know, it's funny, it's not one of the ones I really rated.
No.
I didn't rate it, but, you know, it survived and
It's a good trivia question. From which film comes The Ugly Bug Ball? That's a really good trivia question.
yeah.
And what was Burr Lives like?
Oh, he was fun. He was great fun. He sat on the set all day drinking root beer. You know, he had great stories to tell, and he was, you know, he loved life. He was a lovely, lovely energy to be around.
And he was very fashionable for a time, Burr Lives. You know, his style of singing,
Yes?
you know, and popular in Britain as well. He did all the big variety shows on British television, which is amazing now when you look back on it. But he had a gentleness with him, and he'd worked with Disney, since about 1949 off and on, you know, different
And of
films.
course, he won an Oscar for Cat on a Hot Tin Roof.
He did. He was a bloody good actor.
Yeah, he was a good actor.
He was. So here you are, Hayley, with your dad, and your mum's here,
Right.
just on the edge of it.
Right.
And you're putting what are you doing here?
That's putting our hands and feet in Grauman, in front of Grauman's Chinese Theatre on Hollywood Boulevard, and and it was Daddy's birthday, so I wrote that in the cement.
Was it your dad's birthday the day?
Yeah,
that
it
was lovely.
Yeah, it was Dad's birthday.
I didn't, and I was just that man's Chinese, which is 3 weeks ago, which is very different, but at least they have kept the hand and the footprints, but it's so commercialized all around it now, I think, with hot dogs and, I mean,
Right.
you know, but,
Yeah.
and some of the films they show there, we went to the cinema there last year and saw Nosferatu. There were 8 people in this huge Chinese, it's an amazing cinema, isn't it, inside?
Yes,
It's an amazing, it's
Yeah.
these huge 10 feet long Chinese lanterns hanging from the ceiling. It's Chinese Art Deco.
Yeah.
And as I said, at least
The days when people went to the cinema, it was a very, very big, you know, there were cinema palaces.
there were palaces. And just along from that is the El Capitan, and that was the Disney Palace, which has been fully restored. I mean, that's they're amazing cinemas. In Britain, we haven't been as good with their cinemas as we should have been.
No.
Unfortunately.
No. And we've had a battle to save our theatres too.
Oh, exactly the same thing. Yeah. It's very difficult. The arts, I was saying this to Claire here earlier, you know, the cuts to arts funding for the last 20 years has been dreadful. 15
Yeah,
years.
it's so short-sighted.
Now, we're not going to do Hayley's adult career, but we are going to get her into adolescence and through. And she made a very different kind of film with her dad as well, from a play by Enid Bagnold, I think. So we're going to look at a little bit of this, and then we'll get back to safer territory in Disney, but only because this is such an interesting cast.
Yes.
Anything you want to say about it?
Oh,
The Chalk Garden?
God, the Chalk Garden, Enid Bagnold, it was a play.
Yep.
And it had Deborah Carr and
Edith Evans.
Dame Edith Evans, who was a great theatrical actress and a wonderful, wonderful personality. My father, Elizabeth Sellers, and also a marvellous actor who played the judge who came.
Oh, Felix Aylmer.
Felix Aylmer,
Yeah.
thank you, thank God for George. Yes, yeah.
Let's have a little look at
Yeah.
the trailer of this. Very different. Now, I just wanted to ask you, because we're running out of time here in relation to the number of clips I've got, but Ross Hunter, did you meet Ross Hunter?
Of course. Yes,
he was a very interesting producer.
He was,
He
yeah.
produced all the great ladies' films of the
Yes.
1950s and 60s, films like Imitation of Life, The Magnificent Obsession, Lana Turner and Madam X, all these big technicoloured weepies. Jane Wyman, all the Jane Wyman films at Universal, All That Heaven Allows, All This in Heaven Too, and so on and so forth. What was he like?
He was a larger than life character. You know, big, bold American glasses, loud voice, great, loved films, loved women. I did 2 movies with him. The Chalk Garden was one,
Yeah.
and the other one was a movie called The Trouble with Angels.
Oh yes, with Rosalind Russell.
And Ida Lupino, who was a wonderful actress, directed it. So that was the first time I'd ever worked with a female director, which was a different experience. And Ross, because the film was about nuns, it was all set, you know, in a nunnery, a school. he decorated his office, all black and white like nuns, even black and white Smarties. He had Ida, he designed her wardrobe. So she always was wearing black and white and big hats. You know, it was a whole presentation. It was his brainchild, wonderful imagination. You know, and he was very, very, very generous.
Yeah.
You know, what was I, 16? I turned 16. Or was it 17? No, I think I turned 16. And I remember a huge cake came onto the set, and everybody was very sweet, sang whatever you sing. And then he also made the most wonderful dress made of lace, must have cost a fortune. And that morning in the makeup room, and Dame Edith was in the makeup chair, and I adored her. She was terribly funny and so sweet and just wonderful to me. And she gave me a present. She gave me an opal ring. And I said, oh, Dame Edith, thank you so much. That's absolutely beautiful. I shall treasure it for the rest of my life. It's so generous of you. You shouldn't have done it. And she said, shush. She said, this ring was given to me by somebody I love very much when I was 16. Of course, I burst into tears, threw my arms around her, and she said, oh, come. She said, do stop calling me Dame Edith. She said, in the studio, I'm Dame Edith, but at home, I'm just an old trout.
Yeah, lovely.
Lovely.
There's a very nice Parkinson interview with Deborah Carr and Dame Edith in the same show. And all the way through, she keeps correcting Deborah Carr, who was many years younger than Dame Edith, about, no, darling, we didn't work together in that, we worked together in that. And it was in 1941, not in 1930. And I thought, gosh, she's on the ball.
Wow, amazing.
But yes, a character. Now, would you like to see a bit, or well, you may not, but we're going to watch it anyway. This is a nice film, Moonspinner, wonderful cast, Irene Pappas, Eli Wallach,
Yes.
Peter McHenry, Joan Greenwood,
Yeah.
so who I loved as an actress.
Oh.
Joan Greenwood is the lead in Kind Hearts and Coronets with Alec Guinness and the man in the white suit and so on. She's a wonderful voice that she smoked 100 cigarettes.
Yes.
And I assume she was lovely in reality.
Oh, she's an absolute darling. Yes, darling. And she just recently married. She married, and her darling husband, his name will come to me.
Who's an actor as well.
Yeah, beautiful actor.
Andre Morel.
Andre Morel, that's it.
You're starting at
Well
10.
done, Andre Morel.
Brilliant.
Yeah, lovely actor.
Thank
Lovely
you.
actor.
Yes, Andre. And she was so mad about him, and she said, Hayley, she said, I love swimming, and when I swim I look at my hand and I see the gold ring sparkling on my finger, and I just love it so much. I just love it. And it's not a sad story. I promise you, she didn't lose it or anything like that. But she was an absolute darling, and she had an interesting little quirk. She had something she called night starvation, and she always had to go to when she went to bed, she had to have a currant bun on the bedside table, because she would wake up in the middle of the night and have to have, and Andre said it's like sleeping beside a little mouse.
Right, let's have a little bit of Joan Greenwood and Hayley in The Moonspinners. About Moonspinners and not talk about this lady.
Oh, yes.
So does anyone know who this is? Paula Negri,
Yes.
it is.
Well, Paula Negri, yes.
And Paula Negri had been a silent star. Indeed, she's the one who flung herself at the coffin at Valentino's funeral, and then she went back to Germany and became a star in talking pictures because she had a very, very heavy accent, so she didn't speak English very clearly, certainly not in the early 30s. So this is Disney once again giving her work when she's not worked for decades.
That's right. She was living on a farm in Argentina.
Ooh.
And he got her off, got her out.
Ooh.
She was a fantastic character. She couldn't have been that old.
Probably about 60.
My God, I thought she was ancient. But she would come into the studio in the morning, swathed in black with a sort of a sombrero over her face. You've no idea what she looked like under it. Go into the makeup room and slam the door, lock it, then come out fully made up with a wig and everything. She insisted that all the jewels and the sable that she wore be real. It had to be real. So everywhere she went, she was followed by security men. And she would, she would throw the sable coat or whatever it was over her shoulder and walk with it dragging along in the dust in the studio on the set. And she had
Cheetah? Or
yeah,
panther? What
and it was going to be something else. I think it was going to be a parrot.
Right.
She said, hell with the parrot, I want a cheetah. That's what I'm associated with. So she did, she got away. She had a cheetah.
Shall we look at it?
Yeah.
So this is how Paula turned up in the morning to make breakfast, not.
What are you doing out in the middle of nowhere following my yacht?
Are you Ellen Habib?
Yes, I am. And who, may I ask, are you?
I'm Nikki Ferris. Please, I must talk to you. It's terribly important.
What do you have to say to me? I never heard of you in my life. You're dripping all over my carpet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Don't think because you have managed to get on board that I'm going to give you money.
Oh, I don't want any money. Really, I don't.
What do you want? Hurry, you are holding up my ship.
Are you going to ask George just to buy those emeralds?
What did you say?
The emeralds that were stolen from Lady What's-her-name in London. She kept them at the bank. And Mark was asked to take them to her, and he was held up, and he never saw the man's face. It was a terrible scandal, and Mark had lost his job and was disgraced, and he was in...
I mean, she looks as if she's still dressed like, Alan Atsamova or someone from the 20s.
Yes.
Norma Desmond.
Yes, I know.
Very strange.
Yes.
We're going to have some questions now, I think, from the audience, and then we'll have one more little clip. So we're going to put the lights up so we can see who wants to ask a question. And there's meant to be people roaming with microphones at this point to let you ask your question. Yeah, but the people who are roaming with the microphones aren't here yet, madam.
I've got a loud voice.
No, that's not good enough for the people with hearing aids up the back. Right, girls, come down. There's a lady here. She's going to put her hand up right there who would like to ask a question. So let this lady be first, please.
Hi, hello Hayley. It's lovely to see all of that.
Where are you?
I'm here.
Where are you?
Yeah.
Oh, hi.
Hello.
Hi.
You're still working, aren't you?
Yes, thank God.
What are you, I mean, I know we're not touched on your grown-up career, but what have you got coming up?
Well, I'm awfully glad you've asked me that. I've just finished doing a television series for Netflix in Prague. It's one of those wonderful, glamorous, beautiful, romantic costume dramas. It is an adaptation of Edith Wharton's novel, The Age of Innocence. And it's going to be absolutely gorgeous. It's a long thing. I mean, they started in September and they will finish in March. I had one of those parts where, you keep popping backwards and forwards a bit like a yo-yo. You do 3 days and then you go home for a week, and then you do back again, and you do 4 days, and then you go home for 2 weeks, backwards and forwards. But it was a wonderful wonderful experience, absolutely ghastly as well. Sometimes we were filming outside in -12 degrees. It was so cold you could hardly speak. And the young actors are gorgeous. The lead who plays Newland Archer is an actor called Ben Radcliffe, and he's very, very, very good. And two girls, gorgeous girls, Christine Froseth, who's Swedish, a lovely girl, very good actress, and the girl who plays the Countess Olenska, who causes all the trouble, is an American-Argentinian actress called Camilla Moroni, who is so beautiful that you forget to speak when you talk to her. So, you know, you stand there with your mouth open. And she's very, very good too. I mean, that's the most important thing.
How many episodes?
Well, 8, I think.
8?
Yeah, 8. And it should be coming out at Christmas.
Oh, lovely. That would be good. Because it was the Martin Scorsese film.
Yes.
With Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah.
Michelle Pfeiffer and Alexis Smith, I think it was.
Winona Ryder.
Winona Ryder as
Yeah, I
well.
always
Isn't it? Yeah.
throw that one up. Yes.
So that'd be good. Right, next question.
Thank you.
The gentleman in front of the lady.
Hi, wonderful evening. Thanks very much for all the revelations. I'm interested. You start out as a child actor and then develop, obviously into an adult actor. What were some of the pitfalls of that process, and how did you navigate and avoid them, going from a sort of child actor to where you are now, really?
Sometimes, it was a pretty bumpy ride. But, I was very lucky. I was very lucky for lots of reasons. And the first one, I think, really is my parents were in the business. So they understood a lot about the dangers and the pitfalls of, fame and attention and people running around after you, wanting to do things for you and be nice to you. It's about, and it's very, very easy to get a rather inflated opinion of yourself. So they soon put a stop to that. And also the fact that I was working for Disney and I wasn't exploited. I didn't have to do, very sexual things. He was a very good boss and tried to tailor the films according to my age, which, as you saw in Summer Magic, I was 17, I still had a vast bow on the back of my head. And the other thing too is that I didn't live in Hollywood. I went over and I did films, or I did film in England, or I did film in Greece, or wherever it was, but I didn't ever live there. So I never became part of the Hollywood life.
And you went to school at Elmhurst at Camberley.
And I went back to my boarding
So
school.
you were back to normal.
Exactly. Yeah. So I did get a kind of strange sort of dichotomy. It was like there really were two of me. There was the one who went off and he did the movies, and then the one who went back to Elmhurst who could only wash her hair once a week. So, and we lived on a farm in Sussex. And that's not particularly glamorous. It was wonderful for a child to grow up, in the country.
And you had a pony.
And I had a pony.
Next question. Hands up, please. Right, there's a gentleman there and a lady there.
Hello, Hayley. You mentioned the Beatles a little bit earlier on when you were talking about Maurice Chevalier. You went on a date with a Beatle, didn't you? And did you ever see them in concert as well?
Oh yes, I did, absolutely. I saw them at the Hollywood Bowl. That was an extraordinary experience. I say I saw them, I certainly didn't hear them. The noise was unbelievable. It was people screamed from beginning to end. I mean, like they were being murdered. They were screaming so loud. And there was, not only that, there was a helicopter flying overhead, and it had a rope ladder hanging down with people on the rope ladder as the helicopter hovered over the Hollywood Bowl. It was absolutely crazy. Yes, I have seen them. And then I was also, I saw them a couple of times at the Palladium. One of those, in those days they used to have things called Night of 100 Stars. And it was a variety club, and
Your
they
dad
raised
did
a lot
many
of
of
money
them.
for charity.
Your father did many of them.
He did many of them. Yeah, yeah. I saw them now. Yeah.
Hayley.
Yeah.
And Hayley, didn't you go on a date with George?
Yes, I did.
But didn't your mum go as well?
No! That was Frank Sinatra Jr.
Oh, that's right.
Yes, I wasn't too bothered by that. No, yes, I did. Oh my God, it was wonderful. It was a charity night. Richard Todd used to give. Who asked me this question?
This gentleman over here.
Right, right. And we had to drive down to Richard Todd's house, a place called Hayleywood, and I've never discovered where it was ever since. And we had to go and see, it was for charity, as I say, and we went to see a film, and I think it was a scary movie. And I had an experience of what it was like being a Beatle, being with a Beatle. In the back of a car, we had a driver, and he pulled up in front of the cinema, and a Marine had travelled with us in the front seat, and he turned and he said, "Stay where you are, and I'll sort this out." And he jumped up. We never saw him again. He was swallowed up by all these girls. And then we got out, and we were in the cinema, and they were crawling down the aisle and leaning in the knees in my stomach. It was absolutely crazy. And George was like a calm center of the storm. He never got fed up. He never complained. He smiled. "Oh, hello, Hayley." He was so lovely. And then we had the best moment actually was at the end of the night. He'd done all the right thing and he'd speak to everybody and chatted and everybody back in Richard Todd's house. And then it was time to go home. "Hayley, do you want to go home?" I said, "Yes, you please." So we got into his black E-Type Jaguar. And you remember those cars. They had very, very long noses, and they were very low. And when you got in and you sat down, you're like that. It was like you're sitting on the floor. So we're driving in this wonderful car that snarled up the road, and halfway back, he passed a bowling alley. He said, "Hayley, do you want to go bowling?" I said, "Oh yes, George, I'd love to." And then we both looked at each other and burst into laughter because, of course, it was impossible. Yeah, George Harrison couldn't just wander into a bowling alley and say, "Can I have a pair of shoes, please?" So then we got home, and I know you were with the thing. We got home, and I was living in Richmond then, and he came to the door with me, and my father had waited up. And he opened the door, and he looked a bit, and I thought, I wonder if he's going to be cross with George. And instead he said, "Hello, George," he said, "would you like to come in and have some breakfast?" And so we walked in, and we went down, and we went to the kitchen, and my father made scrambled eggs, and we sat in the kitchen and had scrambled eggs. I had scrambled eggs with George Harrison. And many years later, he didn't ask me for another date. I expect you're wondering. No, he didn't.
I'd like to ask.
He was already very much in love with Pattie Boyd, who was much more beautiful than me. And years later, I met him at the Chelsea Flower Show, and he said, "Hayley, you'll never know. The most exciting thing in my life was having scrambled eggs cooked for me by your father at 4 in the morning." He was lovely.
Next question. Yes? Microphone to the lady, please.
Hello. Hi. Thank you.
Sorry.
It's okay. I just want to say thank you. I went through 11 rounds of IVF, and I have friends going through the same experience. They said, "How did you get through it?" And so I told them it was all about Pollyanna and the glad game. You know, I'm glad that the science is there. I'm glad to have such support. So thank you for making such an impression that I took the glad game with me. And I just wanted to ask if you could treat us to a bit of a song, perhaps from Pollyanna or something else.
Are you serious? I would love to. Will you wave? There you are.
Why don't you get her to sing and then you can accompany her?
Yeah.
That's what I would do.
What? I was happy as a little lamb? What? I can't. Can you remember any of them?
I can, but I've lost my voice.
Oh, excuses.
That was lovely. Thank you so much. That's really wonderful. You know, that story, Pollyanna, it's affected me. I think I was always an optimistic sort of person, but definitely her attitude, you know, the glass half full, not half empty, and always to find something positive about whatever it is that's shit in your life at the moment, or difficult or challenging. There is something, and even if it's just a lesson, this is a lesson I need to learn. And you know, I definitely, I think Pollyanna had an impact on my life, and I've had so many letters from people who say the same thing. You know, I was just the conduit of a wonderful message. And the same thing happened with George. Not with George. You know, this tiny little actress who did Pollyanna first.
Oh, Mary Pickford.
Mary Pickford, thank you.
God, we're going back to 1920.
Huge star, because she was the first Pollyanna. Huge star, and it stunted her growth. She never grew above 5 feet.
Canadian.
Canadian?
Yeah, Canadian.
Was she?
And when she was making her movies, Mary Pickford, and then she married Douglas Fairbanks Sr., you paid 1% tax in America. So if she was earning $10,000 a week in 1920, which she was, she kept 9,900 and something. I mean, they were fabulously wealthy. Wow. But she's an alcoholic. Became an alcoholic. Yeah, this is so you've got time yet. Can I say I met Hayley, and I want to mention the person who introduced me, Ty. Ty is the one that made it possible for me to meet you, and Hayley only lives about 1.5 miles from where I live. And I was very surprised the first time I met you. You were so positive, and I think it is a wonderful thing to see in this world, that someone has so much positivity.
You have, George.
Oh, well, I have to have, haven't I?
Yeah.
On my back and I can hardly walk. Just take the pills and away you go. But honestly, you're a very positive person, and you know, a couple of the old movie stars I've known well, I said to them, what's your secret? They said, always look ahead, never look back.
Yes.
So it's very nice that you let us look back this evening.
Oh, bless you. Bless you.
And we might do Hayley Mills 2, and it will then be from she was no longer a child, she was now an adult. Because there's a very interesting career still there. And I know you don't want to write another book, you should. Because she doesn't deal really with the last few years.
No.
And you could, and maybe you don't want to, but we could certainly do a very good chat about Sky West and Crooked and Endless Night and The Family Way and so on. The Family Way is a wonderful film. I just watched it again in Scotland.
Really?
Marjorie Rhodes and your dad are fantastic in it. Yeah. Anyway, I think we should say, Hayley, thank you very much for letting me substitute you in this round and answering all the questions and be sure to say them.
Thank you to both of you. Just to plug, actually, we're showing The Family Way on Sunday, Monday and Tuesday at the JW3 cinema. So please do come and watch it. Thank you very much. That was
utterly gorgeous, both of you, and thank you very much, and especially for your lovely questions. Hayley, we're going to invite Hayley just to come and take a seat by the book signing. Can we try and queue this way so that people can leave safely? Cafe's still open, continue reminiscing, singing songs, and we look forward to seeing you very soon here at JW3.